How can people with a high salary still leave themselves broke or they feel broke? It's because your money is going into the wrong buckets. You can make $200,000 or more a year and still feel very stressed because you're leaking cash in places that you don't even see. It's not really budgeting that is the fix. It's simply shifting how you save your money to maintain the key elements of a prudent investment. Too many financial advisors get these in the wrong order, but in order of priority, number one key element of a prudent investment is liquidity. The ability to access your money when you need it, maybe even with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call. Money tied up in an IRA or 401k does not pass the liquidity test, in my opinion. Could you access money? Yeah, but not without triggering tax and maybe a 10% penalty if you're doing it before age 59 and a half. So that's not liquid. If you have a lot of your wealth in real estate, that does not pass the liquidity test because you cannot access that equity in those properties without either selling them, and maybe that's not what you really want to do, or you have to borrow the money and qualify for the loan. And sometimes when you need it the worst, it's the hardest to get because lenders don't loan you money based on the amount of equity. They love to tie that up, but they loan you money based on your ability to repay. And when you lack the ability to repay because of lack of liquidity, they will say, fat chance, you can't get your money out of that piece of real estate, okay? So a lot of times people lack liquidity. Now, the second key element is safety, okay? Safety not only of the institution where your money is deposited or sitting, accumulating, but also safety of principal, which I think is even more important. That means whatever I set aside, I don't want to lose that money if it's serious cash that's earmarked for serious long-term goals, maybe my retirement or college funding for my kids and grandkids or what have you, okay? So I want to preserve the principal, and not only that, but any year that I make money on my money, I want that new earnings, that gain that I made to become newly protected principal, which means I don't want to lose in future years any of the money I made in previous years due to something like market volatility. You want to have safety of principal. A lot of advisors do not put their clients' money in a position where you can accomplish that. Okay. And I'm going to solve these for you here in just a moment. The third key element is rate of return. Now, you don't need pie-in-the-sky rates of return in order to become mega wealthy. You need consistent rates of return that historically have outpaced inflation. You have to earn a rate of return that outpaces inflation. You can't be rowing upstream, so to speak, with your money in a bank or credit union at 3 or 4 miles an hour, 3 or 4% interest, when the current of inflation is truly coming down at 9 or 10. Okay, you're going backwards. But if you understand how money works, I have a lot of episodes on this channel that talk about how to become your own banker. And that's the key to mega wealth, safe, positive leverage. And again, I've always said leverage without liquidity is stupidity. But you've got to be able to leverage and earn a rate of return greater than the cost of the funds, okay? If you become your own banker, a bank has to make more on the money than they're paying their depositors to borrow that money, okay? So rate of return is the third key element of a prudent investment, and I like to earn rates of return that historically have outpaced inflation. So generally I've earned between 7 to 10% pretty easily, but then by rebalancing and diversifying, I've been able to increase those rates of return to 11 to 14%, but they're tax-free. So the fourth key element of a prudent investment is how is it taxed? You can have taxed as earned investments like banks, credit unions, and normal mutual funds, which is the worst way to save, and I can prove that to you mathematically. And then you can have tax-deferred accounts, but I prefer totally tax-free, and I do that under 3 sections of the Internal Revenue Code that allow me to accumulate my money tax-free, access that money tax-free anytime, even before the age of 59 and a half, without triggering a 10% penalty, without paying tax. And then at the end of the day, when I finally die, Anything I leave behind transfers income tax-free, and it generally blossoms. It increases in value and transfers tax-free. If I died right now, I'm 73, every million I would have in my favorite vehicle, an IUL laser fund, would probably double to as much as 2 million and transfer income tax-free to my heirs, okay? And people say, well, how much does that cost? Well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. It's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that most Americans shell out in unnecessary tax by following the herd, putting their money in traditional IRAs or 401ks, okay? So what are the 3 silent leaks that I referred to at the beginning? There's 3 big things that cause most people to outlive their money, okay? Taxes, okay, which you may have surmised already, and then inflation, and then market volatility. And these are the 3 big dangers that frankly cause most Americans to probably only last about 10 or 11 years if they're lucky into retirement, even if they have $1 million nest egg. Number 2, you use safety of principle. It's called lock in and reset, where your money is not at risk in the market. You get to benefit when the market goes up, but when the market goes up, you lock in those gains, and so that when the market goes down, which it inevitably does, you will not lose, okay? Every gain you make becomes newly protected principal, and you may not make anything if the market crashes, but you won't lose, okay? And so you want to have safety of principle, and you do that by linking your returns to the things that inflate and using indexing. I'm not talking about an index mutual fund. I've already mentioned that the key elements of a prudent investment are liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax benefits. If you have your money in taxed as earned investments, banks, credit unions, regular mutual funds, and you take after-tax money and you put it into that taxed as earned investment, you have to pay taxes every year on any of the interest, dividends, or growth, okay? So the simplest way for me to explain this, if you took $1 and that dollar was doubled 20 periods, okay? $1 doubles to 2, to 4, to 8, to 16, to 32, to 64. In 20 periods, $1 will eventually be worth $1,048,000 if it's doubled 20 times, okay? That's if it's tax advantaged. If it's taxed as earned, the way most Americans save, when that dollar doubles to $2, even in a 25% tax bracket, you pay tax on that dollar gain, and you only have $1.75 left. You don't have $2, you have $1.75. $1.75 doubles to $3.50, and you pay 25% tax on that. And so what happens? You end up with only $72,000 instead of $1 million. I mean, that's shocking to most people, but yeah. If you're in a 33% bracket, you'd only have 27,000 instead of $1 million. And yet that's the most common way people save. That's why I say it's poor. Now, a fair way would to take after-tax money and put it into a tax-deferred account. That's fair. Still, I don't do that. That might be a tax-deferred annuity, where you take after-tax money by a deferred annuity. It grows tax-deferred until you start accessing money or income, and now it's taxable. LIFO, last in, first out. All the interest you're earning today is going to be all the first money coming out, okay? So what is a good way? And I say that like, I don't even think it's good anymore, but that would be a traditional IRA or 401k, where you're taking pre-tax contributions into a 401k or tax-deductible contributions into an IRA, and then that's growing tax-deferred, but then when you go to access that money, now you agree to pay tax on all of the entire amount of money. If you think that taxes in the future will likely be higher, which most Americans do, that's not the best way to save. I'd rather pay tax on the seed, use after-tax dollars, and accumulate my money tax-free, access that money totally tax-free, and when I die, it blossoms and transfers tax-free. I can prove mathematically, if you think taxes are going to be higher in the future because of irresponsible government spending, that's a far better way. So you may think I'm talking about a Roth. The best, without question, is a property structured max-funded IUL laser fund. And it not only passes the liquidity, safety, rate of return test, and tax advantage test with flying colors, but it knocks the socks off of the same amount of money put into an IRA or 401k. Enough said. Here's what I want you to do. Learn about this yourself. Take ownership of your future. Don't rely on some other advisor to continue to tell you to follow the herd and hang in there when the market crashes. The market always comes back. Oh, you'll likely be in a lower bracket when you retire. No, those are not true or axiomatic anymore, okay? Most people, most savers are not in a lower tax bracket when they retire. So claim a free copy of my most recent 300-page best-selling book called The Laser Fund. It's actually 2 books in one. This retails on Amazon for anywhere from $20 up to $60, plus shipping. And if you buy it on Amazon, thank you. But I'm not trying to get you to buy my book. I want to gift it to you. If you simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below, you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little skin in the game. Come on. I will cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. I will fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail.